we're going to get into the speeches now, you guys, and there's going to be a total of 5 speeches tonight. We're going to start with Kyle and Tracy, followed by Phil and Laura. Michaela will give me a counter speech, followed by Thomas's best man speech. Then Philip and Taliyah will close out the night. So, yeah, then we'll move to the dances. So, Kyle, I know you've been preparing for this. You guys, he told me he's a little bit nervous, but I know he's going to do great. So, can you welcome Kyle?
Naturally a man of few words, partly because I'm shy, but mostly because after years of living with Tracy and Taliyah, I've learned I'm rarely going to get the last word anyway. Standing here today is a bit out of my comfort zone, but for my daughter, I'd face a stadium of people, though I might still need a stiff drink afterwards. But in all seriousness, as nervous as I am standing here, it's nothing compared to the pride I feel looking at you today. You're always being one of my greatest achievements, and seeing the woman you become is the one of the greatest gifts of my life. She has this incredible way of making everyone around her feel seen and loved. Well, unless we had the old camcorder out, when her and her little brother Easton were small. We would be trying to capture Easton's newest milestones, and she would more often than not push in front of him to showcase her latest song or dance moves. Yes, Taliyah, we still have the video evidence. This natural ability of wanting to capture the crowd led her to obvious field of study. To us years before her, when at age 8 and on a school in-service day, she chose to join her mother at preschool for the day and lead a class of 16 3- and 4-year-olds through 4 separate circle time activities. We knew then she was a star teacher in the making. She has always been a humanitarian of sorts. When having an iced tea and lemonade sale in the front yard, she would take her earnings and take them to various places around the neighborhood, in case someone maybe needed a loonie. She would also use her sidewalk chalk to write positive messages to passerbys, wishing them a great day, saying that she loved them, or not to be sad because the sun will come out tomorrow. However, she was a teenage girl. And when I say teenage girl, I mean a teenage girl. One afternoon, while driving her to school, I shoulder checked. And she looked at me, "What are you doing?" Zipped up the window and said, "Stop staring at me." And gave me the teenage eye roll. A bit of overreaction in my opinion. So for fun, and because we all know I'm a fun guy, I did a lot more shoulder checking just for no reason after that when I drove her to school. And Phil, if you want some advice, warn her first before you shoulder check. Another teenage girl story included her longtime friend and partner in crime, Jenna. One night late, I woke up to hear the back door opening. I got up to see what was going on, and Taliyah and Jenna were giggling in the backyard. When I asked what they were doing, they sweetly replied, "Making dance videos," which I naively believed until they confessed just this December after the wedding social that they had indeed been trying to sneak away to go meet friends at the park. When Taliyah was born, her Auntie Keely bought her a stuffed duck. That duck has never left Taliyah's side. Even as a small baby, she loved that duck so much that when we saw another one in the store, we thought we had to have a backup duck, which we never needed to because she ended up hauling the 2 of them around. So as a toddler, when she saw another one in the hotel gift shop, she demanded a 3rd. She still has all 3 of these ducks to this day. I never thought she could love anything more than those ducks. Until Phil came home for that first Christmas. We hadn't even met him in person, only on FaceTime. but he bravely walked into 2 big family Christmases of 35 people each, both of them, on back-to-back days. He confidently walked in and managed to come out of the events knowing everyone's names, how they were related, which says a lot if you know the whole Wayne and Ronaldo family connection. And I'm not getting to that today. I may not give a world-class speech, but I'm never too shy to tell the world how lucky I am. You look incredible. Honestly, I thought passing the torch would be harder, but seeing how happy you are and a twinkle in your eye makes it the most natural thing in the world. That twinkle there is because of you, Philip. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and it's an honor to officially welcome you into the family. We also want to extend the same warm welcome to Phil and Laura and the entire Ironstand family. Thank you for raising such a fine man. So while I'm eager to get back to my seat and out of the limelight, I couldn't sit down without asking you all to join me. Please raise your glasses to the person who has given us much pride since the day she was born, and to the wonderful man she was chosen to share her life with. Ha! I finally got the last word.
Okay, so Kyle was sandbagging me. Next up we have Phil and Laura Ironstand.
Well done, Kyle. I would never guess you were shy. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you all. I'm so happy to see everyone in the crowd. I am the father of the groom, and my name is Philip George Ironstand. Thank you. My dad's name is George Philip Ironstand. Yes, thanks. And my son is Philip John Alexander. So John is my grandpa, and Alexander is my great-grandpa. So there's lots of heritage and pride in my son's name, my baby boy. We also call him Bubby. I'd like to introduce my beautiful wife, Laura.
Opportunity to thank you all for coming to celebrate this special day with us. Today our family got bigger and more beautiful, and we are honored that you are here to share it with us. Philip is our baby. He's the youngest of 6 siblings, and he was born with a built-in audience. This might be why he has always so enjoyed being our in-house entertainer. When I'm hearing Kyle talk about Taliyah, I'm like, what a pair they are. It seems he has always loved sharing his animated stories with us. In fact, while he was in elementary school, we had to limit him to 2 stories at mealtime, otherwise other people wouldn't get a chance to talk. Besides this enjoyment of spending time with family and friends and making us smile, he is deeply caring and very thoughtful. I remember one time in elementary school, his class had been raising money for a community in an underdeveloped country, and at the end of the fundraiser, the students were able to vote on how the money would be spent. And I remember PJ, as we called him at that time, coming home and being disappointed with the way the vote had gone. He had really wanted them to put the money toward a water well because he thought that a well would have the longest benefit and most far-reaching impact for the community. But the majority of the students had voted a different way, And I remember being surprised at how passionate he was in wanting to see a long-term gift or a gift of long-term benefits to be what was given. And I was amazed at the thought he had put into it. Over the years, I have watched Philip process different situations and think of ways that they could be improved, and taking practical steps to meet some of those needs. I hesitate to tell this story because I know Philip never would have drawn any attention to it, but I feel it gives a very good picture into the kind of man my son is. Our church meets in a facility that is part of a shopping mall, so we have big windows that will allow us to see outside. There was an individual who was obviously cold, and they were outside, and before I knew it, Taliyah and Philip quietly left the service, walked over to Mark's Work Warehouse and bought a pair of gloves, and gave it to this individual, because that was one need that they saw that they were able to meet in this person's life. I was touched seeing the compassionate hearts of this couple. This week, as we were going about preparing for the wedding, Philip asked me if I could touch up his haircut, and I felt absolutely nervous because today's such a big day. And I reminded him about the time that I had given him another haircut. During that particular haircut, someone had called me on the telephone, and I made a foolish decision and thought I could just put it on speakerphone and continue cutting his hair at the same time. I am well aware now that I'm better to focus on one thing at a time. As the haircut he got was substantially shorter than what he had requested. I remember his graciousness as he looked into the mirror and realized what could not be undone, and he had every right to say, "How could you?" or express frustration, but he was so gentle and kind and never made me feel badly. And when I reminded him of it this week, he had the exact same reaction, just total graciousness. And that encapsulates who Philip is.
I told her she should just keep on. She said no. We are so thankful for this beautiful young woman that he has chosen to be his wife. Taliyah is not only beautiful on the outside, but beautiful on the inside as well. Whenever I describe her to people that we're introducing her to, I say she's just simply a sweetheart. We've come to know Taliyah. She's been over to our place, and we love having her there. She's very comfortable with her family. It wasn't long before she'd be kidnapped by our granddaughters as soon as she came to visit us to play with them. She's taken the time and effort to invest in those relationships, and they adore her. They just simply adore her. She is pleasant, kind, she's a hard worker, she's truly a delight to be around. Thank you, Kyle and Tracy. You've done a wonderful job in raising a beautiful, beautiful lady. We look forward to spending more time with you as well. And Taliyah, we want to welcome you as a daughter into our family. Philip and Taliyah, as you begin your life together as a married couple, I'd like to bless you. So if you wouldn't mind coming up. As your parents, Philip and Taliyah, we bless this marriage. We bless your abilities as a husband and as a wife as you start on this wonderful and exciting journey together. We bless your ability to communicate with one another, to always let love guide you, to be able to truly listen to one another, support one another in your goals, your interests, your careers, and whatever excites you. Having been married for 37 years, I can honestly say growing old together is truly amazing. This is our hope and prayer for you too. And lastly, Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 and 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen. Thank you very much. All right, then lastly, we're going to have a toast. I'm not sure what I'm toasting to, but to the unity of two families. And as I look across the room tonight, we're all family. And I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you. So to family.
Thank you to the parents. You guys all did such a lovely job. Next, is it Michaela? Okay, Michaela, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michaela, and I have the absolute pleasure of being Taliyah's best friend of Maid of Honor. Taliyah and I met just 4 years ago when she moved to Regina and started working at Mills East. Her bubbly personality and energetic nature made her one of my favorite people to work with almost instantly, and I remember deciding very early on that I wanted to be her friend. Our friendship didn't start right away though. We were just work friends for about 6 months before what I consider the real turning point. It was September. We had just finished our first week of classes, and she had just met with an academic advisor who told her that she would need to do 4 more years of university to finish her Bachelor in Fine Arts in Education. Sorry, oh my gosh, that's what you're doing right now. In theater, despite already completing 2 years at Brennan University. We stepped outside after a big rush at Earl's, and she told me all about this in a way that she probably doesn't want me to go fully into. As an English major myself at the time, I suggested she join my program instead. I don't know what I said that was so convincing, but right there, outside of Earl's, Taliyah dropped her theater classes and enrolled in mine. From that moment on, we were inseparable. I helped her catch up on what she missed that first week, and we quickly fell into a routine. Carpooling to class, studying at coffee shops, but definitely had far more talking than actual studying, and spending more time together almost every day. We were so attached at the hip that when we had online classes, we'd join the Zoom lecture on one laptop, which I'm sure made it even more difficult for our professors to tell us apart. Now, I have to back up for a second. Before we truly became friends, Taliyah and I would have the occasional drink at the bar top after work, and it was one of these such times that remains like my first vivid memory of our talking. We'd both recently gone through breakups, so there was a lot of venting, and when I mentioned that Earl's was my first restaurant job, Taliyah gave me some very serious and very confident advice. Never date a kitchen boy. So I took that advice to heart, and when she later told me that her and Philip had started talking after she transferred to Earl's South, I gently reminded her of her own advice. But my skepticism didn't last long. Even though he started stealing her away from me more and more, I could see something different. I saw it in the way her face lit up when she talked about him, and later, when I worked with them again, I saw that same look reflected right back at her. Although I haven't had the chance to get to know Philip deeply outside of work, I feel like I know him through the way that Taliyah has grown since I met her. I see his steadiness and her confidence and decisiveness. I see his gentleness and the calm that has replaced her worries. And I see his faith in the way she trusts the life they're building together. Taliyah, the way that you love people has always been something so special. You care deeply, and you show up so fully for me, and you bring so much light into our lives. Seeing you as someone who not only matches that love, but nurtures it, has been incredible to witness. Phil, from everything I've seen, you don't just love Taliyah, you really see her. Thank you for supporting her and encouraging her, making her feel so safe and honored. It's not all about the big days like today. It's the quiet mornings, the challenges, the laughter. And you guys, I see it already that you keep showing up for each other every day. If the love you share now is any indication, I know you're going to build something strong, steady, and lasting. Taliyah, I'm so grateful that one shift 4 years ago in a city you almost didn't move to, that it brought you into my life. You've become not just my best friend, but someone I admire very, very deeply. I couldn't be happier to stand beside you today. So, everybody, please join me in raising a glass for their life of love and laughter together. Cheers!
Thomas, you ready?
Hello. My name is Thomas Markson, and I'm one of the best friends of Philip, DJ, Jono, or whatever sounds as normal as him calling me Tommy, Phil. We go way back. We played against each other in Adam football, played together in Pee Wee football, but the real friendship started in high school. Pastor Rob said Phil has a servant's heart, and that statement couldn't be more true. It was the first day of grade 9, me and my brother were sitting in the hallway, snacking on our lunch, not quite sure where we fit in just yet. Our friends from elementary had left us for a new crew, but Phil came walking by. With a girl, seemed like he was headed out for what seemed to be a lunch date. He didn't just stop and say hi to us. He invited us to tag along and made us feel included when we really didn't. We had never hung out like that before, but it didn't really matter. Our high school friendship was off to a great start. That story shows how he genuinely cares to shell out a helping hand or show up for people, truly selfless in his actions. Another great story illustrates how fate just seems to keep our friendship close. Me and my family were trekking through the mountains on a camping trip in 2019. We found a site and in a campground we had never been to before, and we got all settled in and for a calm night with the family. Me and Tara were sending our daily Snapchats, and to Phil's surprise, the Snapchat of the mountain that he opened up was the same mountain that he had climbed that morning, Mount Kidd. He quickly checked Snap Maps and saw me and Tanner at the campsite neighboring him. He called out, "Thomas, Tanner!" We heard him. Around the corner we came, and he was in the neighboring campsite. One of our best friends, 1,000 kilometers away from home, and we were side by side like that. We got to catch up, have a couple beers, and sit around the fire. And that night would have been so normal camping with the family, but it turned into such a happy surprise getting to see my best friend. Now, Taliyah, you found yourself an incredible partner in Phil. And based off that smile, I think you already knew that tonight. You two have built a very special relationship over the past years, and it's clear how much respect, support, and happiness you bring to each other's lives. It's also exciting to see what's ahead for you two, especially with Taliyah stepping into her career in teaching. There's no doubt you're going to make a real difference in a lot of lives just by being the kind of person you are. And tonight, you're in a place as beautiful as this, celebrating the start of something even more meaningful. It feels fitting, because what you two have built together is something solid, something genuine, and something worth celebrating in a big way. So I'll keep it simple. To Phil, thank you for being a kind friend who reaches out, who includes others, and who leads by example. To Taliyah, thank you for making my friend even happier than he already was. And to both of you, may your life together be full of laughter, adventure, and plenty more memorable moments that feel just as special as tonight. Please join me in raising a toast to my best friend and his new best friend.
Great work, Thomas. That was awesome. So it's time for the man and woman of the hour, PJ and Taliyah. Do you guys want to close out the evening, please?
Hi, thank you all for coming today. Whether you came from close or far, making time for us and celebrating with us. We love you and appreciate you all so much, and appreciate the time you've taken to be here. Specifically, we wanted to thank Adrian and both of our parents, Michaela and Thomas, for all of the extra hard work you've put into making today so special for us. as well as all of our vendors, including the Hotel Saskatchewan, our photographer team, and our DJ. And I'm going to pass it on to Philip.
Hi everybody, thank you all so much for coming. First of all, I just want to say how much we really do appreciate all the love and support that we have. Looking out to the sea of faces here and seeing all of the familiar faces, of course, and everybody that's here to support us and love us. It's awesome, so thank you, genuinely. I want to start my speech off, first of all, by appreciating my beautiful wife, Taliyah. Prayed for a woman like this since I was little, and I have always had faith that I would find somebody who fits it. And not only did I find somebody who fits it, but who goes above and beyond any of my expectations. Taliyah is beautiful, smart, funny, compassionate, and so caring for anybody that she meets. And anybody that has met her tonight knows that already. I always say to her that she is my Philippians 1:3. If you aren't familiar with the verse, it simply says, I thank God in every remembrance of you. And I truly do thank God every time I remember her, because she is such a blessing. I want to go into a couple of stories as to why I realized that she was the one for me, and truly the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And the first one, for all of you who know Taliyah, she is incredibly smart, and has English honors, so she loves to show it off. When we were first talking, and she was leaving our house, she wanted to say a farewell, but she wanted it to be elegant. And so with full confidence, as she left, she goes, "Be ye all well!" And I was confused. Did you mean to say, I bid thee farewell? Oh yeah! It was awesome. She's also a very dedicated person, not just in her work, but in everything that she does, even if she's not at work or in the right space of mind. She recently had her wisdom teeth get removed, and after the wisdom teeth procedure, for those of you who are aware, you're kind of loopy and pretty out of it. In her out of it state, she noticed the people, the surgeons, handling a small plastic container. She was sure that this was an Earl's to go and they had stolen it. She had to attack them for this. She was very, very adamant that they had taken this to-go container and we had to bring it back. Despite all of my efforts to try and tell her that, one, she's not supposed to be talking, and two, they didn't have an Earl's to-go container. She made sure that we double-checked. Finally, the moment that for me truly stood out as the moment of her being the one was, like I said, I had prayed about finding a woman who was faithful and God-loving and would encourage me in my own relationship with the Lord. And it wasn't until we were staying at her aunt and uncle's house in Beaumont that I was having trouble sleeping because she kept reading her book. And I was like, what book could she be reading that's keeping her awake for this long? It was her Bible. At that moment, I realized that she was somebody who truly loved the Lord the same way that I did, and that it was the moment I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, because she was actually doing more than I was, and I kept asking for somebody who would encourage me. Here she was. For those of you who know Taliyah personally, you know that she is incredibly easy to love, and if you have the opportunity to have her love you back, it's the best feeling on earth. I can promise you that. So tonight, to thank everybody for coming, and to thank my beautiful wife for saying yes, I just want to raise a toast, and to forever. Thank you again.
So on behalf of the Hoglanders and the Ironstands, I want to thank you all for attending tonight. So the dances will start shortly with the set dances first, with I think PJ and Taliyah's first dance. Thanks again for coming out. God bless and have fun tonight.
One very important thing I forgot to do. Great success, my wife.